Hi, guys. Okay, this is my first go at it. um, okay, so I think my next job is to figure out how to fix the mirroring because when I show you things, it looks like the words are backwards. So that'll be what I'm going to try to fix for next time. But I do have the live chat on. So if there's something funny in the story and you want to comment, you can. I know there's about 20 people on. I don't know who you are, but hopefully you're here for some story time. So today I am going to be reading Miss Daisy is Crazy, written by Dan Gutman. He is absolutely my favorite author for books that I read to my students. They have characters that are in second grade, and then further in the series, they go into third grade and the teachers are crazy, and I feel like I can relate. But today's story I picked, Miss Daisy is Crazy, because my niece Penelope has always called me Daisy. And so I thought it was a great first pick for her. And I think she is on listening as well. So hi, Penelope. Hi, Bash. Hope you guys are having a good day inside with the rain. So here we go. There are 12 chapters. I am going to try to read about 6 of them, unless it takes too long, in which case I'll stop earlier. And then I will do another Facebook Live tomorrow at 4 again. And I'll just keep doing that until this book is over. And then if I find that people are interested, I have zillions of these stories. So here we go. Chapter 1, I hate school. My name is AJ, and I like football. Let's see, can you see those pictures? And video games, and I hate school. Our teacher, Miss Daisy, was taking attendance. It was the first day of second grade. Miss Daisy told everyone in the class to stand up, say our name, and say something about ourselves. All the kids laughed when I said I hated school, but there was nothing funny about it. I mean, I've learned a lot in my 8 years. And one thing I learned is that there is no reason why kids should have to go to school. If you ask me, kids can learn all we need to learn by watching TV. You can learn important information like which breakfast cereal tastes the best, what toys you should buy, and which shampoo leaves your hair the shiniest. I mean, this is stuff that we'll need to know when we're grown-ups. School is like this dumb thing that grown-ups thought up so they wouldn't have to pay for babysitters. Now, when I grow up and have children of my own, I won't make them go to school. They can just ride their bikes and play football and video games like all day. And they'll be totally happy. And they'll think I'm the greatest father in the world. But for now, I want to let my new teacher, Miss Daisy, know from the start how I felt about school. I hate school. Well, you know what, AJ? Miss Daisy said. I hate school too. What? You do? We all stared at Miss Daisy. I thought teachers loved school. If they didn't love school, then why would they be teachers? I mean, come on. Why would they ever want to go to a school when they were grown-ups? I know that when I'm a grown-up, I'm not going to go anywhere near a school. Well, of course I hate school, Miss Daisy continued. If I didn't have to be here teaching you, I could be at home, sitting on my couch, watching TV and eating bonbons. Whoa, we all said. What's a bonbon? Asked Ryan, a kid with black sneakers who was sitting next to me. Oh, bonbons are these wonderful chocolate treats, Miss Daisy told us. They're about the size of a large acorn, and you can pop the whole thing right in your mouth, so you don't need a napkin. Oh, I could eat a whole box of bonbons in one sitting. That sounds delicious, said Andrea Young, a girl with curly brown hair. She was sitting up real straight in front of the class with her hands folded like they were attached to her or something. Miss Daisy seemed like a pretty cool lady, for a teacher. I mean, come on. If anybody who hated school and liked to sit around watching TV and eating chocolate treats was okay by me. Me and Miss Daisy had a lot in common. Maybe going to school wouldn't be so terrible after all. Chapter 2, Dumb Miss Daisy and Principal Klutz. Miss Daisy said it was time for us to clear off our desks, see how much we knew about arithmetic. Ugh. So, if I gave you 48 apples and Principal Klutz took 28 of them away, Miss Daisy asked, how many apples would you have left, AJ? Who cares how many apples you would have left? I said, because I don't like apples. If you ask me, you and Principal Klutz can just take all the apples away and it wouldn't bother me a bit. You would have 30 apples, said that girl, Andrea Young, in the front of the class. She had a big smile on her face, like she had just opened up all her birthday presents. Andrea Young thinks she's so smart. Well, whatever. I hate arithmetic, I announced. Oh, you know what? Miss Daisy said. I hate arithmetic too. What? You do? We all said. Sure, I don't even know what you get if you multiply 4 times 4. You don't? I have no idea, Miss Daisy said, scratching her head and wrinkling up her forehead like she was trying to figure out. Maybe one of you kids can explain it to me. Boy, Miss Daisy was really dumb. Even I know what you get when you multiply 4 times 4. But that smarty pants, I know everything girl, Andrea Young, beat me to it, and she got called on first. You put 4 crayons in a row, she told Miss Daisy, as she put a bunch of crayons on top of her desk. And you make 4 rows of 4 crayons. You have 16 crayons. See? Then she counted the crayons from 1 to 16. And Miss Daisy looked at the crayons on Andrea's desk. She had a puzzled look on her face. I'm not sure I understand, she said. Can somebody else explain it to me? That's when Michael Robinson, this kid wearing a red t-shirt with a dirt bike on it, explained it 4 times 4 again, but he used pencils. He had 16 pencils on his desk in 4 rows of 4 pencils. Miss Daisy still had a look on her face like she didn't understand. Ugh. But what would happen if you subtracted half of the pencils? She asked. Michael took away 2 of the rows of pencils and then put them back into his pencil box. Then you would have 8 pencils. we all said. And then Andrea Young added, how unexciting as 8. Miss Daisy wrinkled up her forehead until it almost looked like an accordion. Oh man, she didn't get it. She started counting the pencils on Michael's desk out loud using her fingers. And she got it all wrong. We gathered around Michael's desk and we tried to explain to Miss Daisy how to add and subtract and multiply and divide numbers using all the pencils. Nothing worked. Miss Daisy had to be like the dumbest teacher in the history of the world. No matter how many times we tried to explain it, she just kept shaking her head. Well, I'm sorry, she said. It will take me a while to understand arithmetic. Maybe you can explain more of it to me tomorrow. For now, we have to clean off our desks because Principal Klutz is going to come in to talk to us. Now, I know all about principals. My friend Billy from around the corner, who was in 2nd grade last year, told me that the principal is like the king of the school. He runs everything. Billy says that if you break the rules, you have to go to the principal's office, which is in the dungeon down in the basement. Kids in the dungeon get locked up and are forced to listen to their parents' old CDs for like hours. It must be horrible. Miss Daisy told us to be on our best behavior so Principal Klutz would see how mature we were. And finally, he walked into our room. Welcome to 2nd grade, he said cheerfully. I'm sure we are all going to have a wonderful year together. Principal Klutz said a lot of stuff about the rules of the school. We're not allowed to run in the halls. We're not allowed to chew gum and, stuff like that. But I wasn't listening very closely because I kept staring at his head. He had no hair at all. I mean none. His head looked like a giant egg. When Principal Klutz was all done telling us the rules of the school, he asked if anybody had any questions and what we had to say. Did all your hair fall out of your head? I asked. Or did you cut it off? Everybody laughed, even though I didn't say anything funny. Miss Daisy looked at me with a mean face. Actually, it was both, Principal Klutz said. Almost all my hair fell out on its own, so I decided to shave the rest of it off. Oh, that's the saddest story I've ever heard, said a girl named Emily, and then she burst out into tears. Oh, don't feel bad, Principal Klutz said. It could have been a lot worse. But how? Sniffled Emily. Well, at least my brain didn't fall out of my head. And we all laughed, even Emily. Principal Klutz was a pretty funny guy, for a principal. Well, are there any other questions? Yeah. Do you have a dungeon down in the basement where you put the bad kids? I asked. Actually, the dungeon is on the 3rd floor, Principal Klutz replied, and nobody laughed. He quickly told us that he was just making a joke and that he didn't even have a dungeon at all. But I don't know. Principal Klutz must have felt bad that we didn't think his joke was funny because he invited us all up to the front of the room to touch his bald head. And we did. And that made everybody feel a lot better. Principal Klutz seemed nice, but a lot of people seem nice when you first meet them. Then later, you find out that they are evil villains who plan to take over the world. I bet he was lying about the dungeon. So this is Alex. This is Andrea, Emily, and I don't remember who is who. Chapter 3, How to Spell Read. Before school started, my mother told me that second grade was the most interesting grade because this was the year that I would be able to read chapter books all by myself. Now, I already knew how to read, even though I had tried really hard not to learn. You see, my friend Billy told me that you really don't have to know how to read. Billy says that when you grow up and make lots of money, you can just pay people to read for you. And that sounds good to me. I hate reading, I announced when Miss Daisy passed out some spelling worksheets. Oh, me too, agreed Miss Daisy. What? You do? We all asked. Yup, she said. I can't read a word. You can't? Nope. You can't even spell the word read? Michael Robinson asked. Don't have a clue, she said, scratching her head the same way she did when she told us that she didn't know how to multiply 4 times 4. Just sounded out, Miss Daisy, Andrea suggested. Miss Daisy said. No, we all shouted. Well, I give up, she said. Do any of you know how to spell the word read? R-E-A-D. We all chanted. Wow, I didn't know that, marveled Miss Daisy. You have taught me a lot today. Now, how did you get to teach second grade if you don't even know how to spell read? Asked Ryan. Well, I figured that second graders don't know how to spell very well, so it wouldn't matter whether I could or not. I know how to spell lots of hard words, Andrea Young announced. Me too, everybody else said. Really? Miss Daisy said. Like what? Everybody started shouting out words and how to spell them, but Miss Daisy stopped us and made us take turns. She had each of us go up to the chalkboard and write 3 words that we knew. I wrote tonight, writing, and McDonald's. By the time we were done, the whole chalkboard was filled with words. There wasn't even any room left for more. Wow, Miss Daisy said. You kids have taught me so much this morning. I'm really glad I decided to become a teacher. Chapter 4, Miss Daisy is crazy. In the lunchroom, I opened my lunchbox and saw that my mom had packed me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which I traded Michael for his potato chips. Everybody was talking about Miss Daisy. Dude, Miss Daisy is crazy, Ryan said. She's like the weirdest teacher I've ever had, said Emily. And she can't read, and she can't write, and she can't even do arithmetic. I mean, what kind of teacher is that? A bad one, I had said. Hey, I just thought of something, Michael Robinson was able to say, even though his mouth was filled with peanut butter. Did you think that maybe Miss Daisy isn't really a teacher at all? What do you mean? Well, hello. Do you want to say hi? Do you want to say hi? This is Stella. She is interrupting story time. Okay, look. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. And bye-bye. What do you mean? Ryan asked. Maybe she's an imposter, said Andrea. An imposter? What's that? I asked. Somebody who imposts? No, sorry. An imposter is somebody who pretends to be somebody else, Andrea explained. She might be a fake teacher. Maybe Miss Daisy is really a jewel thief or a bank robber, I guessed. Maybe she snuck into the school and is hiding so the police won't catch her. Oh, I think you're the one who's crazy, Andrea giggled, choking on her milk. But what if Miss Daisy was a bank robber, or she could be a horse thief, or a cattle rustler, or somebody who parks where there's a yellow line? My head was starting to fill with all kinds of awful things about Miss Daisy. Maybe Miss Daisy was kidnapped, or maybe Miss Daisy kidnapped our real teacher and is holding her for ransom, I suggested. Oh, no, do you think so? Emily asked, looking all scared. What's ransom? Asked Ryan. My mom tells me I look handsome, Michael claimed. Not handsome, you dumbhead. Ransom, said Andrea. I don't know what it is, but whenever somebody is kidnapped, they get held for it. In cartoons, people who get kidnapped are always tied up to railroad tracks. I reminded everybody, maybe our real teacher is tied up to some railroad tracks right now. Oh no, we've got to save her, said Emily, and then she went running out of the lunchroom. Wait a minute, said Michael. That doesn't even make sense. If Miss Daisy can't even read or do arithmetic, how is she going to be able to kidnap a teacher and tie her to the railroad tracks? Plus, she doesn't even look like a real kidnapper, said Ryan. I think we should tell Principal Klutz, said Andrea. He'll know what to do. No, I shouted. Don't you see how good we have it? If we tell Principal Klutz how dumb Miss Daisy is, he'll fire her and replace her with a real teacher. A real teacher who knows reading and writing and arithmetic. And we'll have to learn all that stuff. You don't want to do that now, do ya? Oh, Dude, no way, said Michael. I don't care if she is an imposter or a bank robber or a kidnapper, I said. I like her, and I say we keep her. Yeah, me too, Michael agreed. I think she's cool. Okay, let's not tell anybody, I said. It will be our little secret. And we all agreed our lips would be sealed, but not like sealed with glue or anything, because that would be gross. Chapter 5. The most genius idea in the history of the world. After lunch, we had recess, which means we get to go out into the playground and run around. Miss Daisy said we needed to burn off some energy. Now, this is more my style, I announced when we got outside, and I made a beeline for the monkey bars. Then me and some of the other kids hit the swings. And then after that, all the boys had a contest to see who could spin around in circle the longest without throwing up. Michael won. Then we all sat down in the grass. Now, even though Miss Daisy was pretty cool, we all agreed that we hated school. And we made a promise to one another that we would hate school forever. And even if we changed our minds and decided that we liked school, we would still hate school. That's when Ryan came up with the most genius idea in the history of the world. This was his idea. We should buy the school. What? Ryan told us that his father worked for this big company, and that once his father's company bought some other company, just like that. You would go into a store and you would buy a candy bar, but instead you would just buy a company. Ryan said, yeah, dude, it happens like all the time. He said he didn't see any reason why we couldn't buy the school just like that. Now, if we bought the school, what would we do with it? Michael asked. Well, we could do anything we wanted because we'd own it. Could we turn it into a video game arcade? I asked. Sure, why not? Instead of teaching reading and writing and arithmetic, we could teach kids how to play video games. And we could ride skateboards in the hallway, said Michael. Of course we could, Ryan said, if we owned it. I got all excited because if there's one thing that I like to do almost as much as playing football, it's playing video. Oh, and riding skateboards. I started emptying out my pockets. I had a nickel, 3 pennies, and a lifesaver. The other boys emptied their pockets too. We separated all the pennies and the nickels and the dimes into little piles. Then we added up all the money. We had $1.32. Wow. Michael said, that's a lot of money. But I don't think it's enough to buy a school, said Ryan. We knew a thing or two about financial matters because we like to buy ice cream in the summer. Plus, Ryan's dad works for a big company. Well, how much do you need to buy a school? I asked. Beats me, said Ryan. We'd better ask Miss Daisy. We all rushed inside after recess and we asked Miss Daisy how much it would cost to buy the school. Gee, I don't know, said Miss Daisy. Didn't seem to know much about anything. Why do you want to buy the school? We want to turn it into a video game arcade, I told her. Well, that's a great idea, she beamed. I love video games. There are so many schools and so few video game arcades. It makes perfect sense to turn some of those schools into video game arcades. I'll arrange a meeting with Mr. Klutz tomorrow so we can ask him if we can buy the school. But right now, we have to go to Mrs. Cooney's office. Mrs. Cooney's office is down the hall from our class. She says she's a school nurse, but personally, I think she's a spy. And I'll tell you why. There's this big poster on her wall, and it says this. And I tried to read it, and it didn't make any sense to me. Even Andrea Young didn't know how to read the poster, and she knows everything. I think Miss Cooney has created a secret code, and she's using the poster to send mystery spy messages. I will have to keep my eye on her. When we walked into Mrs. Cooney's office, she had us all lined up in size order. I was the shortest kid, so I had to stand in the front of the line. Then Mrs. Cooney told us to take off our shoes. At first, I thought she didn't want us to track mud all over the office, but then she told us that she was going to weigh and measure us. I mean, come on. Obviously, she's gathering information about us because that's what spies do. My friend Billy says that the heavier you are, the smarter you are, because heavy people have bigger brains. But I think Billy just says that because he's overweight. I weighed 52 pounds. Mrs. Cooney showed us this awesome ruler that she has. It was made out of metal and it stretched out 6 feet long. And when she pushed a button, the whole thing shoots back into her hand and disappears like magic. That was cool. I'll bet she has lots of other spy tools. She wouldn't let us play with her magic ruler, but Miss Cooney ran around measuring everything. She showed us that the bench we were sitting on was 17 inches high. The door in her office was 30 inches across, and her foot was 12 inches long. Hey, my foot is a foot, said Miss Cooney. Aren't all feet feet? I asked. Well, some feet are less than a foot, and some feet are more than a foot, she replied, but my foot is a foot. I had no idea what she was talking about. Miss Cooney wrapped the measuring tape around her forehead and announced, look, my head is almost 2 feet in circumference. Now, I knew that circumference was the distance all the way around a circle, and the diameter was the distance through the middle of a circle. Oh, yeah? What's the diameter of your head? I asked, and everybody laughed, even though I didn't say anything funny. Well, that would be hard to measure, but isn't measuring fun? Miss Cooney asked. I wonder how much a scale weighs. Miss Cooney started to measure and weigh more things, but Miss Daisy said we had to go back to class. Okay, you guys, it looks like we are at chapter 6. There are 12 chapters in this book, so I am going to be back tomorrow, same place, same time, 4 o'clock. And I will read chapter 6 through chapter 12. And if you guys are enjoying it, I have more books that I can continue reading. So before I sign out, I think the live chat is on. If you want to type something in, ask a question, or just say hi, I think it is working. Otherwise, I will just click out. I really don't know how any of this works, but if there is a spot to like this or subscribe, it might be easier to find me again. I don't know where it's at. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you liked some story time. I don't see any chats, so maybe I don't have it turned on. Unable to connect to chat. Okay. It looks like it's not working. I will try to figure out a couple of these little flaws by tomorrow. So tomorrow o'clock at 4. Hope to see you then. Bye. Stay safe. Stay inside.